Hey guys, what's going on? Type V3 here, and TFCON just wrapped up, and I'm here to give you my thoughts on what I thought of the show. TFCON was a blast. That's what I'll say. It was a blast. This year, much like last year, I was a volunteer again, and as such, I was given a brightly colored yellow shirt. And I thought it was just the same shirt I got last year, but it turns out it's different. There's a bit of a textured pattern over the blockiness of the logo. And even the font on the back where it says volunteer was changed. So I don't know, I was a little surprised, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. Being a volunteer was great. Got to meet a bunch of people just because I had to, help out with the traffic that was coming through and be able to answer questions that people generally had. And through it all, I got, meeting people just around my area, all of Canada, all of America, or even across the globe. Meeting people from Europe was cool too. So, yeah, it was fantastic. The panels are great. I'm sure by now, if you're a Transformers fan, you've seen all the third-party announcements. And I will say, if you're in that room, crowd just went wild for some of this stuff. Other great panels: the voice acting panel, the costume contest, and I really liked Proto Man's. If you don't know who Proto Man is, he's on YouTube. Search him up. He does Transformers reviews as well. He had a panel about just knockoff toys, really rare toys like Lucky Draws and whatnot. And he just went through that whole little experience. If you enjoyed, say, watching his reviews and you liked that little history lesson he gives at the beginning for each character, that was basically what his panel was. And it was very intriguing, and I enjoyed that. So, like, the events are great, the panels are great, and of course the toys. The toys, there's a ton of toys there. I got to see that SDCC Metroplex. When that Metroplex was first announced, I couldn't care about that figure whatsoever. But seeing it in person, it is like this big. It is the size of an infant, and I want one. It is so cool. A lot of the cosplayers are neat and they're all nice. There was a transforming DeLorean, so that was really cool. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, for me, the highlight of the show, highlight, my voice is almost gone now, was just all the social events and just meeting people there. For example, I got to finally meet, if you guys know him here on YouTube, I believe his username is Kuma Style. He used to be TJ Duckett. Met him, and he's a really nice dude. He's super cool. Yeah, he's a cool guy. Met a lot of dudes from the Cybertron.ca boards and the TFW 2005 boards. Met a lot of them, and finally being able to put faces to screen names is awesome. And everybody again is super nice, and they showed me all their cool toys. That was fun. And then I got to meet the toy designers for Mastermind Creations Terminus Exatron, and just talking to him and hearing him, what he has to say, where his inspirations come from, and just general design and what he thinks about other toys. I could have sat there in that bar forever and just listened to him talk, because I don't know why, but I guess toy design and engineering is really just, I find so fascinating. As much as I love to play with toys and whatnot, just knowing the thought put into making a toy and just the design process and things like, what are you trying to do and what are your limitations and this and that, budget and whatnot. It's just, I find that so fascinating. So it was a joy to talk to them. And I believe their company is Mayhem Mechanics, and they unveiled their own, I guess, independent toy, which is going to be the Unrustable Bastards, and I can't wait. It looks fantastic. It's like, and this is a toy line that I think looks cool. Think Akira meets Sons of Anarchy, biker gangs and futuristic bikes. So it looks cool. After that, I finally met the Pre-Order 66 guys. I don't know if you guys know that podcast, Pre-Order 66, the high-end toy podcast. The majority of them were at the show, and I met them, and they are just the coolest dudes. They are super nice, and you can tell these guys are really passionate about toys, and if you're looking for a cool toy podcast to listen to, I recommend them, because they're really neat. They even hooked me up actually with this sweet pre-order 66 t-shirt. Um, and the more I look at it, the more I just get jealous at how creative they are with their logo, because I think it's so cool and I'm just jealous. But yeah, so that was fun. And then of course, if you listen to the WTF at TFW podcast, they had a live recording there to end off the TFCON show, and I have to say that was a great way to end the show. It was basically just a giant panel room, and the hosts, Vangelis and Aaron, were just having a fun time with the audience. And it is kind of unfortunate if you only get to experience the audio-only version of what happened at the show. The audience had an equal involvement as both of the hosts, and because of the way the microphones were set up, it's a little... you just don't hear the audience, and you just don't understand. And there's a... Well, let's just say this. There was Nerf guns involved, and there was a lot of toys that was just bought at the show, and a lot of visual cues that you're just not going to hear on an audio podcast. So that's a bit unfortunate, but hopefully it's still worth listening to, because I had a lot of fun just being there. But yeah, TFCon, major blast, and enjoyed myself thoroughly. But now you're probably just bored of me talking and you want to see what I bought. Of course you do, who doesn't? Even I would be curious. The first thing I picked up was not a Transformer. It was a D-Arts Raido Kuzunoha. I believe that's how his name is, or it's Raido Kuzunoha. But I can't remember the exact pronunciation because I've never played the game or looked that much into it. But he is from Shimagami Tensei Devil Summoner, subtitle, something involving his name. Anyways, I just picked this up because I thought he looked cool. And one of the dealers there is a friend, and he had one of these, and I saw it, and I asked him how much it was, and he told me, and I thought, oh, that's a good price. I'll just pick it up. It looks interesting, and I'm sure I'll like it. So the next thing I picked up was this. This is the Transformers Generations Voyager Springer. This is a fantastic Transformer. If you are looking for a really good Transformer, this is one to consider, because it is awesome for what you're getting. Now, I will say, he does have a repaint remold, which is Sandstorm, and if you can only pick one, go with Sandstorm. He is the better toy, I find. I like his two vehicle modes better, and I think he has better colors. The only reason I picked up Springer is because I'm not a fan of Sandstorm's robot mode. It's just, it's such a, well, it's a much heavier upper build, and he still retains these like chicken legs, and so that always looks off to me. And after that, I don't like Sandstorm's head. I think it is just one of the most dullest head sculpts I've ever seen. So that's why I went Springer. So, and you know, Springer's not perfect, I will say. Despite his color scheme being G1 accurate, it's a terrible color scheme nonetheless. I mean, it's like lime green and neon yellow. You can't get more gaudy than this. So, yeah, I kind of wish he came in black and purple. But he's not, so that's a bit of a disappointment. And the other thing I will say is that while I was at the convention, I thought that I was kind of just, or not at the convention, but just in the past little bit, I thought I was falling out of love with Transformers. And I just thought maybe my run with Transformers is done, and maybe I just don't like that stuff anymore. But it turns out that's not the case. I just need to get a really good Transformer, because I'm completely back in the game, and I kind of regret not getting Sandstorm and Blitzwing now. So, whatever. Well, retail they can come soon to retail, as well as Metroplex. So maybe, hey, my love for Transformers has been reinvigorated. There was a couple things big ticket items I was eyeing at the show. Like I said, I talked to the guys who designed the Terminus Hexatron, so that was one of them. I really wanted one of those. The other thing was Fans Toys Quakewave. Got to the dealer's room the following morning after talking to those designers, and Hexatron was sold out. I was disappointed. And then I saw that Quakewave, way overpriced. So then I figured, well, I guess it's best this way. Don't spend my money on anything. Of course that doesn't happen when you're in a dealer's room full of awesome toys. And after doing a couple laps and contemplating even more, I decided on this. And this is a Soundwave coin. It looks like a boombox. Opens up, and there's a coin. Now, of course, all you fans out there will know what this is. This is actually just the bonus item included with the big ticket item. That is Takara's masterpiece, MP13 Soundwave. And I haven't opened it yet. It's still in the box, but what I will say is, you know, I was contemplating a lot. Why should I get this when the Hasbro release is just so close? And the Hasbro release is probably cheaper than this and will come with all 5 cassettes. To be honest, I'm impatient. Second thing, it was for a very reasonable price. And lastly, I'm a very picky collector. And you're gonna laugh when I say this, but with the Hasbro Soundwave, I believe the only change is he has a yellow visor. And what's the one thing I hate about Soundwave from the Hasbro release? It's the yellow visor. So yeah, it's dumb, and it probably won't matter in the long run. It doesn't really change the value of the toy or what the functions of the toy. Is paying a premium worth it for a red visor? I don't know. Probably it's probably not worth it. But I mean, will it satisfy my mental issue with that? Definitely. So yeah, Masterpiece Soundwave. I'm super stoked to have this. Now I did get one more thing, and this is, or a pair of things. And this is probably, for me, the highlight of the show. If you've watched my other vlogs in the past, you've known that I love Beast Wars. Beast Wars is kind of like my roots for Transformers. That's where I started, and that will always be the place I come back to when it comes to Transformers, and that's just how it is. My 2 favorite characters, Dinobot and Black Arachnia. Last year I got the chance to meet Scott McNeil, the voice of Dinobot. Fantastic. But I always liked Black Arachnia just a little bit better. This year, Venus Terzo was a voice acting guest here at the TFCON, and I didn't know that. In fact, I didn't even look at the event schedule, so I didn't even know she was at the show. And, well, for the morning of, the second morning of the show, I had a volunteer shift that I had to do in about half an hour in the morning. I believe it was at like 10 o'clock, and I was up around 9:30, whatever, so I went down to the lobby, and I figured before I go there, I'll go get a coffee. Went to Starbucks, and I didn't know this, but the girl in front of me, or the lady in front of me, she's not a girl, was Venus Terzo, the voice of Black Arachnia, and I didn't know this until I got to the cash. So as I went to go, you know, add my milk and sugar and stuff, she was there, and I kind of just geeked out for a second, and she probably thought I was a crazy fanboy, because that's probably how I acted. Like, you go from like this dead zombie-like person into just suddenly bright, adrenaline-filled fool. Just like, and I was just freaking out. I was just like, oh my god, you're Black Arachnia. And yeah, so we chatted for a good little bit, like 15 minutes, and then she's like, oh, I have to go do this voice acting panel. I'm like, alright, cool, I'll see you later. And it turns out, I was the one who was, I was watching over that panel, so that was pretty awesome. And then after that, she had an autograph session, and so at the end of my shift, I went to get her autograph. And before I did that, I also went to see Josh Perez, and got a print from him of Black Arachnia, and then I got her to sign it right there. So this is probably the best thing at the show for me. Just, you know, Black Arachnia is kind of like, well, here, let me put it this way. If you've been a long-time subscriber, then you'll know that I have this sort of thing for female characters. Especially female robots. And Black Arachnia is kind of not kind of, she is the root of that interest. Like, that's where, for me, that's where it starts. And so just meeting her was just, I was so happy. It was a great time, and I loved it. And then, so yeah, after that, you know, the show winds down, and Dealer's Room was like the 5-minute call, and I figured, you know what, I'll go for one last spin, and I got this. And this is Transformers Animated Black Arachnia. Now, I know, Venus Terzo did not voice this character, nor does she have anything to do with Transformers Animated. But, let's face it, The original Beast Wars Black Arachnia toy kind of sucked. Well, it's not so much that it sucked, but it was just a straight repaint of Tarantulas, so it didn't really look like her. It kind of just looked like Tarantulas with the Black Widow color scheme. And, you know, and later Black Arachnia toys weren't exactly the best thing out there. And for me, animated Black Arachnia always was my favorite design, and this is a toy I've actually been after for what feels like years now, because I mean, animated ended so long ago, I believe. But yeah, I've been after this for a while, and it's not that I couldn't find it, it's just people always sold it at a price I was just never comfortable paying with, like $40 for Black Arachnia. But yeah, I gotta say, yeah, I was just so happy by the end of it all. So yeah, my signature and this toy just really, really made the show awesome, like an awesome way to end. And yeah, the whole experience of TFCON 2013, fantastic. If you haven't been, I definitely urge you to go. And I can't wait for next year, because I'm sure it's going to be just as great, probably better, and yeah, fun time. But yeah, that's all I got to say. All I got to say, this video's probably going on forever. But yeah, I guess I'll just end you guys off with something completely random. I am super ecstatic that Lewis Hamilton was able to take his maiden win with the silver arrows at the Hungaroring this past weekend.